My neighbor was trying to ask her, and she was in all over.
Okay. Yes.
Testing, 1, 2, testing. We are live. Tom? No, I'll take this one. This looks good.
Yeah, I didn't see no cup in the window.
Okay. Yeah, this is the first cup of coffee that I've had from Carol
Isn't it good?
in 6 weeks, I think. It smells wonderful. And it feels just like old times to see people talking in the foyer as we're getting started. And I want this to be a very, very informal service. Very informal. And by that, I mean, it would be nice to hear from everybody, just to talk about what you're up to. And if you don't want to come up here, I think we can probably pick up your voice. But if you're comfortable coming up here, you could come up here and say a few things. I got a really good word from one family, the Niceleys, who have a grandson, works for Meyer. And he got to go back to work Friday.
Yay!
After 2 weeks of quarantine.
Wow.
Pardon me?
How's Roseanne?
Roseanne and Dale said they're okay.
Did they ever swab him or no?
That is a question a nurse would ask.
That is.
It is, yeah. And I'm not a nurse, but I'm married to a nurse, and my nurse I don't think is coming today, and that's okay. I've had several people in the last couple of days mention they were not going to be coming, and that's okay. And so it was very nice, Carol, when I called you yesterday, and you said, "I'll be there." I like that. And Terry, when do you think we should open up Euchre again?
Wednesday? I am ready.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm tired of playing solitaire.
Okay, yeah.
He holds the world's record, I think, for solitaire.
Oh, my.
And losing.
Okay.
Oh.
Hate that when that happens.
I played like 500 games of solitaire. Oh, my word.
Mhm. But yeah, that's what we have to be praying about that. Now, next week does appear to be somewhat of a door opening that will be full praise team up here. And the trick is, though, of course, people can change their mind, can't they?
Yeah.
And say, they're not going to come.
Yeah, we know somebody that's really good at that, don't we? No, our governor.
Oh. He always tells me.
Yeah, no, I was talking with a pastor this last week who has a church 10 minutes from him near Grand Rapids. Church has never closed.
No?
Been open the whole time, anywhere from 50 to 75 people. He said they have a unique mindset as a church, and that they consider themselves to be a church that is not controlled by any government. Okay?
I don't think churches are supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, and as me and this pastor were talking, he said this. He said he had an attorney look up the last 2 executive orders from the governor. And both of them have churches exempt in the executive order.
Because they have to recognize common law.
Yeah. And I hope that's why, Tom, because they have to recognize common law. I hope that's why.
Common law don't have to recognize churches.
No.
See, the problem that I have is that if an officer would come in and would give me or any of us a citation. The problem is, even if we prove ourselves to be exempt and correct, we have to go through the hassle, don't we, of eventually
I was under-
showing up at court, you know, and doing that stuff.
I was under the assumption, I guess, that until Congress passes a law and it becomes a law, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah. Yeah, now Darius, we're talking about an attorney that a pastor friend of mine told me that the last 2 executive orders that were put out by the governor have a church exemption.
Yes.
And so we should, you know, be free. And right now, we've got Cookie making her way in.
Woo-hoo!
All right.
Sunshine.
And so Cookie, it's good to see you. Are your ears burning?
Yes.
Okay. And it looks to me like she's talking to my wife Pam. So
Yes.
wonderful. That's wonderful. And that's what I pretty much have told everybody, that I thought we would have between 10 and 20, and I think we've got about 12 here right now. So that's a pretty good way to go. Yeah, Pam's out there. I think I'm feeling really good about what we're doing here. I feel like there's a good chance we won't be interrupted today. I really don't think so. It is interesting that some of these interruptions appear to be along party lines. And that's interesting. I would like to think that our county would not interrupt us. Yeah. But I can never be too sure about that. And Cookie, would you like to share a few things, or do you feel like you want to just kind of sit down and rest a little while? Okay, all right. Well, I think, Sally, I'd like you to come up here now. Walk carefully through the mind path there.
Cables and cords.
Yeah, and go ahead and tell everybody how you're feeling and doing, and I know I've been praying for you.
Yeah. So all of you were looking at us, watching us. Thank you. West Windsor is alive and well. We are small, but we are mighty in the Lord, kind of thing. And I know that I am missing everyone. It is wonderful to see everyone. People that are here this morning know that Charlie and I have invented something. It's called an air hug. When you see somebody you want to hug, you go like this, you know, do an air hug, and they do it back. So do an air hug to somebody that is across the room. And include everyone, because everybody needs hugs. The big news is that Homeless Angels is still going strong. All of the things in the park are kind of on hold right now for distributing any clothes and all of that, which I think is really kind of horrible, especially with people that don't have proper clothing to be outside 24/7. But I have also heard that there are people kind of meeting on the sly and handing out clothes, just not to the large group that you would see in a park downtown Lansing. So pray for them, pray for the homeless. If you ever be outside and you want to go inside, and you do, think about the people that don't, that can't. That's the heart that I have for those people. And Brookwood Inn is still going strong. We, on the slide, dropped off milk to them, which was wonderful. They were very thrilled. And the little gal says, "Well, Sally, only reason I'm taking it is because it's from you and Charlie, because I know that it's fine." I said, "I just bought it at Kroger. I brought it right to you." So yeah, I'm hoping this weather continues to be spring and we can all be outside. I encourage you, if you are homebound, to at least go outside and breathe some of that wonderful sunshine weather and get outside, and whether you wave at your neighbors or whether you tuck over the fence or whatever you do to get over and see people. I am still working 4 and 5 days a week with my little guy. And one of the most exciting things, one of my little Girl Scouts, one of my little brownies, now my girls our daughters are 35 and 40. And I was a Girl Scout leader for years and years. And this one little name came up. So we did a search. Charlie's good at searching. He found her, and she's on Facebook. And so we've been talking back and forth. And it's just thrilled because I didn't know for sure it was her because I haven't seen her in years. And here's a picture of this lady, not this little girl. And it's just absolutely wonderful because she says, yeah, I remember you. You were my Girl Scout leader. So that's wonderful too. Pray for all the camps. Camp Barakel and all the Girl Scout camps and the Boy Scout camps and this camp and that camp. And that don't know what they're doing this summer. They don't know if they can have camp or if they've got to cut, at Barakel, they call them a tribe, which is usually 6, 8, 10 kids with a counselor. If they have to cut that in half, which then of course makes their revenue in half, the food volume in half, any Girl Scouts that are trying to go to Girl Scout camp. And a lot of the counselors for Girl Scouts that a lot of people don't know, those counselors sometimes come from England and Finland and Italy and all that kind of stuff to be in America for the summer of 6, 8, 10 weeks and actually get credit on college for doing this. And now maybe they can't come. I don't know. That's all in the works. Personally, I think the governor has overstepped her bounds. And I think that we are all a whole lot safer than she is projecting. I think that we can be out in public and yes, wear a mask out in public. Yes, wash your hands, but have some common sense. Exactly. I mean, you go out in public, you get your stuff, you come home, wash your hands. You unpack your groceries, wash your hands. There's common sense to be had here. And I think that we need to really, really get going with that and get back to life. There's so many people that are not able to work because of this shutdown and this layoffs and this and this, that. So yeah, the little guy I take care of is great. He just turned 4 this week and they had cupcakes and he actually stuck his finger in one, the frosting. So yeah, it's great fun. But I have been playing euchre. All you euchre players, you can play euchre online. I've been playing, as I told Brian and Don and Charlie, of course. I'm playing euchre with strangers. It's not near as much fun as playing euchre with this group around here. There have been Ontario, Canada, and Ohio, and Oklahoma, and one was from Australia. Now, that's a time change. Talk about that. But yeah, I've been playing euchre with strangers, and some of them aren't very polite. Some of them, boy, they're for guns and blood and guts, and they want to win. And it's like the one from Ohio told me that I was from Michigan, and when I said I was from Michigan, he said, "Well, no wonder you suck playing cards then." And I went, "Whoa!" I said, "I'm MSU. I'm not U of M." I know. We have a daughter-in-law, U of M. Don't worry. So yeah, so that's about all I got. I'm loving you guys. I'm hoping we get back to more of a normal church next week and actually have a dinner where we could sit and talk and be around people. But I know there's certain compromises we have to make. So thank you so much.
How is your health?
Fine, I'm good.
Your
Oh, my pacemaker?
pacemaker?
Yeah, I got a good report.
Sally just said her pacemaker is pacing along good. This is very good to be with all of you and see all of you again. We're going to sing Amazing Grace. Dan and I are going to play a melody that goes with it. And, but I do think, since Sally just talked about next week and the possible potluck lunch, be praying about that. I know we've got the 6-foot wide tables, but as I'm looking around at everybody, I'm not sure I see that we should or shouldn't. I know if we're thinking of doing euchre, that we certainly could.
It's
And
hard
we
to plan how many to serve when you don't know how many are coming.
Yeah, right. Well, I think I can answer that because of my pastoral ear to the ground. I'm going to guess that we will have 25 people. And we could plan for that. And if we didn't have enough food, I think that would be okay. Now, Cookie, are you going like that at me because you think I need to lose a little weight?
Is there anybody that didn't gain weight during this?
Interesting, yeah. Dan just raised his hand that he didn't gain any weight. And I'm going to raise my hand and say I didn't gain any weight. Oh, did I just hear thunder?
I think that was the horn.
Backfired.
Oh, good.
Has anybody got a friend or a family member, or has COVID-19 struck anyone you know at all? Yes, please.
We have an ex-family member, and I'm not supposed to know about it because the person that told me wasn't supposed to tell me because the person that told her wasn't supposed to tell her. Oh, well. But they know we pray.
Mm-hmm.
And so they wanted us to know. We didn't even know because I didn't tell you.
Okay, because I got a secret.
That's it. So we do have a family member that does have. And if anything were to happen to either one of them, it would be totally devastating for one of our grandchildren.
Well, my high school friend has a friend who has it.
And we've been
has
praying, that's Carrie?
Carrie, that we've been praying for.
Yeah.
And I was sharing just when we got here, Tom was asking, she was able, my high school friend was able to actually go in and visit Carrie. And she started to sing a praise chorus with Carrie. Carrie was awake and aware and trying with her breathing to sing along and couldn't,
Mm-hmm.
but was just delighted. Just her eyes were just dancing and she was just delighted. And of course, my friend has told her that she's got lots of people praying for her.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, I think it's it hasn't hit anybody we know for the most part, has it? Yes, Kay?
Well, I don't know how many people it is sick and I might know, because I don't know about it until usually because they die. A friend of mine's sister passed away in Kansas City of it. She made the conscious decision not to go out to a ventilator. And she died the next morning. And then, extended family, my aunt, well, it would have been this year when her granny had died here in Michigan. Both of these were last week.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as anybody that has got it and has, this, I've never been told as much. And, I mean, they're not on Facebook or whatever. And I know other family members who are sick, but I don't know if that's what they got, So I know that when I took Andy to the emergency room twice this last week, the first time they let me in, and the second time I took him to Sparrow, and they wouldn't, I needed to put my hands, so I just dropped him off at the door. But he has a hard time articulating his symptoms, and then the doctors are impatient, and so stuff gets missed. And he's feeling a little bit better, but we're gonna have a face-to-face with a specialist next Wednesday, when he finishes his course of antibiotics. But he's been very sick this week, very sick. And I've just been trying to keep things going at home and wash my hands, wash my
Right.
clothes. When I go grocery shopping, I won't let him bring anything in. I carry it all in, if I can't pick it up, because say it's a big bag of dog food, get somebody who's loaded for me, I call my son and he'll bring it in and take care of it for me.
Mhm.
But I'm not letting anybody touch anything in the stores, no.
And what would be your take, on trying to do social distancing and a potluck next week?
Jury's out on that right now.
Jury's out. Because for example, as we're thinking out loud now, if we did that, I would say we would have to limit 2 people maximum to the kitchen at a time, right? You know, just thinking out loud, some practical things like that. People going through the line, would, you know, I think we could have one on each side of the table. You know, that would be okay.
Staggered.
And yeah, but have everyone else, you know, 6 foot. But I think that, I think if, you know, it's like kind of like universities, you know, like I think Purdue University has said they are going to be open this fall. Someone asked them, how are you going to handle all of it? He said, we are in the planning stages right now. And I think, you know, that's what we have to do too, is we have to, if we're going to do something like that, we have to be in the planning stages. I would imagine, you know, if we planned for 20 people to show up for lunch, that would probably be about it. I bet you a lot of the people who come would not go to lunch.
Or they could eat at the ramp, up at the other tables. I mean, if we're only gonna limit the 5 tables that are in the fellowship hall to 4 or 5 each. And then, up the ramp, we have tables.
Yeah, I would say if we had 4 to a table and we have 5 tables in there, that would be 20. Yeah.
Depends on the weather, there's a picnic table out there, people can sit at.
Yeah, okay, good. There's another table on the picnic table. Or like Sally said, we could walk up. But I like that picnic table idea because it is supposed to be a little warmer if we can trust Michigan weather forecasting.
I have a special prayer request
Uh-huh.
today for Kyle. He's having a really rough time. He's lonely, he's been thinking about his mom terribly this week.
Oh, yeah.
And poor little kid, we talk to him 4 or 5 times a day. He calls us at night to say goodnight. Just, you know, he was listening to his mom's favorite song the other day. And it just breaks your heart to hear him talk. So he could use a few extra prayers today just to get him through today.
Yeah, just thinking out loud with you about that. I wonder if Grandpa Terry and him could go golfing. Would his dad let him?
They were outside in my room.
Mhm.
They did get a hug, but they both had their face mask.
Well, that's
Yeah.
I was over there Tuesday and,
Tyler couldn't take it anymore.
Then we go for
cause I would stay down in the driveway next to the truck and he would open the bedroom window and we'd talk. And, a couple, I don't know if they're married, but, boyfriend, girlfriend. Came over and brought supper. And they went in the house and Tyler says, well, can Grandma come in, Dad? And Josh looked at me and said, well,
I think he's trying to protect Dad because of his diabetes.
Well, yeah.
he says, you're an old man and you got diabetes problems and you're really acceptable to this. I said, I'll take the chance.
That's right, they're doing.
And so he says, yeah, come on in. I got a real good hug.
Yeah, but jump in your arms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I went home and hit a deer on the way home.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Big one.
Hit a deer.
Did you have it? Did you get to say the meat?
No.
No, I got up and ran off and I called Brian, my oldest son. He said, well, he says, can you drive the truck over there? I said, yeah. And so I was only a half mile from his house. And he said, well, he said, I think I can fix that. So I called Schwartz and bought parts and they want a couple of parts need to be painted. He said, I'll paint it, but he said it won't look like a professional job. And I said, well, see what the body shop will charge me to get it painted. So I haven't heard it yet, but he said probably less than $100. So I said, I won't pay over $100.
Yeah, well, you can tell him that while he's doing that, to just take that sander and go over your back tire area,
Yeah.
knock that rust off of there while he's at it.
Yeah.
If that deer dies, let's hope that the government doesn't find it because they were listed as a COVID-19.
There you go. They will.
Well,
She's kidding.
I hit it really good, so and Brian said, well, he said,
That's one for cash.
probably ran off to 100 or 200 yards and lay down and died. But the funny thing is, I was doing 55 to 60, and it just jumped right out in front of me. Didn't even have time to take my foot off the gas, and I never felt the impact. The truck absorbed the impact, and all I saw was the plastic lid just flying everywhere.
Yeah, and in the last, 13 years, I've hit 3 deer. And two of them I hit perfectly, and I was able to get those and eat them.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah, and that worked out real good. And then the third one, I was with my granddaughters. And this deer, is going up the same road in the farmer's field that we are. And he's running, along with us. And so I said to my granddaughters, roll your windows down. So we're all yelling at the deer, go away, get away. And he came right in front. Pow, I hit him a little bit. He flew up, landed on his hinder, took off, just got right up and took off.
And you didn't see his blinker, huh, when he turned left?
No.
And as you can tell, I'm still mad at that deer. I'm still mad at that deer.
My neighbor says, what, did you get any medicine off it? I said, oh, he got up and ran off.
Yeah.
We wish that we
That's
like
right.
that.
Yeah, he got up and ran off.
That's good.
Yes.
I have questions about the dinner next week. I'm wondering if we can just skip it this month and have one in June.
We certainly can.
I just feel like it might be wiser.
Okay. Okay, I'm seeing some nodding their heads.
I think if we have limitations, we can be safe. And those that don't feel safe, don't come.
Yeah, and I would say then,
If you don't feel safe, you don't.
and Carol, I think that you should not come then, okay?
Yeah, if you don't feel safe.
You should not come. And I think we could do it kind of like, almost like a school lunch, right? Bring a paper bag with a sandwich in it, right? We could do that.
Bring our own, instead of potluck, bring our own lunch.
Yeah. And I know a couple people that'll probably bring potato chips.
Now, bring what it was.
Someone brings some dip, you'll be good.
But, so yeah, why don't we do that? Why don't we say, unless you're gonna bring something for yourself, let's not plan on it. And Carol, if you go home and change your mind and wanna come, you can come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amen.
Anybody,
Yeah.
we just need to be safe.
Weather permitting, we can sit outside.
Yeah.
Bring a lunch, yeah. Sit outside.
Sure.
And I would
Yeah,
say,
there's 2 great picnic tables.
yeah, and I would say since we're doing a lot of good communication right now, I think we'll also throw the idea out that we will try to do euchre Wednesday night after this informal potluck lunch next week.
So
Okay?
not this Wednesday, but next.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
And yet at the same time, if a number of you look at each other on the way out of here and say, I'm gonna show up Wednesday night, that's okay.
Well, I'd rather play with these people than all these strangers I've played with. That are mean. They're meaner than Terry, that's going some.
He can just stick with it.
Okay, well, we are gonna go ahead. Dan and I have been playing Amazing Grace to the tune of another song. Amazing Grace is one of the most amazing songs ever. And it's 5:02 in the hymnal, okay? 5:02. And so I'll get on the bass and what we'll do is we'll sing the first 3 verses now. And then for the closing hymn, we'll sing the last 2 verses. Okay? So let's all go ahead and stand. And then as we get, Dan and I get in the background music, I'll give you a nod and we'll start together. Okay, and Dan, let's see if in fact it's A, C, D, F or A, C, D, E. I think you're right on F. Just a second. Yeah, I think it sounds better with a 1, 2, 3. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Just blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my sins, and grace my fears relieved. How precious that grace. As promised, good to me is good. Y'all did great.
That was the rising sun.
It did, it sounded like that.
Yeah.
Before we
It's the same stuff, it's the same music.
The music.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, this is one of those fun times when, as a pastor, you get to repeat a sermon. And I always remember one of our founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin. Does anybody know what he said about repeating?
About what?
Repeating.
History repeats itself.
He said that, and then he also said, if something ain't worth repeating, and ain't worth being said in the first place. And I think he said that when he was flying in the rain with that little kite, yeah. So this is, my sermon is entitled, A Mother's Day Gift. How about fathers do a lot of changing? Okay, that's pretty much the sermon title. A little bit of humor to begin. The COVID-19 protection plan and child reading plan. Here it is. The kids are causing the caretakers, the grandparents, and the parents are just sick of the kids watching too much TV. Here's the trick. Mute the audio. Put on the subtitles, and now the kids are reading. Now you got homeschool going. There you go. Okay, here was a lady who had a kitty cat, and the kitty cat developed a new COVID-19 lifestyle. This lady said, when I pour my coffee in the morning, she will stand on two legs right next to me. Tell me, Deb, if your cat would do this. Stand on two legs right next to me, and at the same time I'm getting my coffee, she demands a small bowl of milk. Why? So that we can both have our morning drinks together. Okay, now I don't know how many of you are going to be able to see this picture. Can anybody see who that is right there? That is Darth Vader.
Oh, it's not on ours.
That is Darth Vader. And folks, Darth Vader is ready for COVID-19. If you don't believe me, what does he do all the time?
Has a mask on.
He has a mask on, number one. Also, he doesn't visit his son or daughter hardly ever.
No.
Number two. He is very good at being socially and emotionally distant. And above all, he follows all executive orders. There you go. So, I thought that was funnier than y'all. That's okay. What is the best gift one can give another? Now, we can talk about how a father can make changes so that the father is more helpful to the mother, yes. But we can say the same thing about a son, right? Or a nephew, or any loved one. If they're committed to making changes to themselves so that they can help mom or a mother figure, that's really good. And that's kind of where this message is going. What is the best gift one can give another? Is that the question is asked on your sermon outline. How about personal change for the better so that the mother and father can raise kids with more love and more unity? A father can't change mom, but he can change himself. Not a bad gift. Number one, a father sees only two remaining change incentive commandments. There used to be 10 plus, Andy Stanley says, 590 more of the Old Testament, but now there's just two. So it's simpler. Life is a little simpler. Second point, the change phenomena is connected to the new covenant with the water and spirit combo. Okay, remember in the good old days when McDonald's used to have combo meals? Yeah. And then you could upgrade it, right? To a large soda and large fries. And then thirdly, mom receives an ongoing father gift of divine, loving, personal change. So when you decide you're going to make personal changes to yourself for the betterment of your family, who is more pleased than mom? Nobody. Okay, The first thing we will do is take a look at Deuteronomy 10, verse 4, which we read, "He wrote on the tablets in the same writing as before, the 10 commandments that the Lord had spoken on the mountain in the midst of the fire on the day of the assembly, and the Lord gave them to Moses," or me. Okay, now Jesus in Matthew 22:37 said, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul and mind. This is the great first commandment." And he says now, new covenant, second commandment, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." Notice the importance of loving yourself. So if you love yourself, you're going to be able to make changes to yourself, but you got to really love yourself. It's interesting as I think about going to the gun club. I have some of the most astounding relationships there and conversations there. And one of the things I notice is that if you or I were to ever talk about our DNA or our previous generations, or if I were to ask them about some of their previous generations, their normal reaction to me is, "Oh no, I can't go there and you can't go there either." Because if we go there, then we're blaming our weaknesses on our past generations. Well, you see, you only do that if your mind is full of what? Blame, guilt, condemnation, judgment, and are some of those things passed on from our parents and the grandparents before them and the ones before them? Yes, they are. So our job, if we really love ourselves, is to say, what are some of these things that I'm going to let go, that I'm going to get rid of? And that's a change because we love ourselves and we're willing to get better. We aren't saying that making changes is saying that that person was bad, because we know everyone in the whole world is a sinner, right? So they had to do sin. We all know we are sinners and we aren't perfect. So we do our stuff. So to say I'm going to not be like this and to make a change, wow, suddenly that's what Jesus meant when he said, "Be set apart for me. I'm calling you." And you know what? Every change you make like that, the load you carry gets lighter. It gets lighter. And that's where we're going with some of this. So number one, under B on your outline, love God with thankfulness for creating you with your heart. Put thanksgiving in your heart, thankfulness in your heart, joy in your heart. And as you operate with this change, guess what? That's all going to go up. It's going to increase. Number two, love yourself and all your idiosyncrasies or your peculiar ways, your uniqueness, and feel the joy of loving yourself. Isn't it interesting when you think back to your mom? Did she ever say to you or your dad or anyone in your family, "Hey, you really need to love yourself more"? Your mom said that. Wow. I'd never heard that. You never heard that either. Okay. Yeah, no. So, boy, bless your mom, because that is so important. And I find myself saying that to my kids. And I remember one of my grandkids, I said it a lot. And about a year after I said it a lot to them, they said, I got to admit, I was upset with who I was. I didn't like me. And you just kind of railroaded it on me. And I saw I had no choice. There was no better thing I could do for me than to love me. Now, why should we love ourselves?
You can't love anyone else until you love yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And what's another reason why we ought to love ourselves?
Because of God says that's one of his commandments.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what is one of the old sayings? God doesn't make junk, right? I mean, God made every one of us for a purpose, right? So we have to love ourselves if we're going to fulfill that purpose, right? We've got to. And so we love ourselves and we love the Lord. And then number 3, realize that God will lead you to the neighbors he has for you. I don't know if you're like me, but some neighbors are easier to talk to than others. Okay? And so, you know, you play with that, don't you? You say, Lord, you know, open the door or lead me to who you want me to be with. I remember not too long ago, I was sitting in the living room and someone came to the door and I think I was doing a grandpa nap. You know, I think it was like about 4 p.m. or something like that. And I was and they knocked on the door and they could see me there. Okay. And and sure enough, it was a new neighbor. And I shook their hand and they shook mine and we probably talked for 15, 20 minutes. And now I know that neighbor. And that neighbor said to me, I'm really introverted. My grandkids discovered that word about a year or two ago. And they were talking about how introverted their computer gaming parents were. You know, they could just get lost in those computer games. But introverted, you know, to my definition means that you are shy, that you just like to do stuff by yourself, and you don't like to get out and stand on tables and talk to people while you're doing this, okay? And he says, if I ever am just looking down and you think I don't want to say hi to you, ignore that. Because he said, I'm introverted. And so that's my job now, isn't it? If I meet this person, no matter how they look or not, if I want to talk to them, you know, I will just go up and I will talk to them. And a lot of you probably know that about me here at the church. Every once in a while, you know, I'll get into a debate with Pam or somebody in my family, and we'll have a difference of opinion. And sometimes when you have a difference of opinion, you feel like maybe not talking as much, right? Well, I think, you know, that's where you say to the Lord, well, Lord, if I need to talk, I'll just do that. And I think I'm pretty good at that. Okay, C, manage receivable changing by no judging or condemning. Luke 6:37, judge not, you won't be judged. Condemn not, you won't be condemned. Forgive, and you'll be forgiven. And I see some here who are in the recovery group. And you know, that's one of the biggest ones in the recovery group, forgiving ourselves, right? And boy, that's big. And then, of course, sometimes forgiving other people, right? And I really like in our church that a lot of people are willing to talk to me, and I hear them talking to others too, about so-and-so in their family who they don't maybe have the best relationship with. And I think that's wonderful that we can talk about that. Because you know what? If you can talk about it, I think you can improve it. Okay? I think you really can improve it, especially where there's forgiveness, right? And that's what Jesus has got here. In the jail, number one thing, forgive yourself. It's the biggest problem, you know, that is in the jail. Okay, and then Jesus adds another commandment. So he says there's really two, but then he kind of says, but I'm going to add one more, and that's John 13:30. Love one another as I have loved you, so also you should love one another. One of the things I love about our church is that I have been able to say for the last 7 or 8 years, I would really like to be here until I'm 70. And for the most part, everybody said, that's okay. Why? I think everybody realizes I love them. It's like nothing can happen that will make me not love everybody here. It doesn't mean that once in a while we won't disagree, or have some funny feelings, but that love is there. Okay, let's jump now to Roman numeral number 2. The change phenomena is connected to the water and the Spirit. Now, holy cow, like one of us said earlier, wash the hands, COVID-19, wash the hands again. Water is an integral part of that washing, isn't it? When we wash our hands, what are we doing to the skin? Cleansing, right? Okay. Why did Jesus say, when it comes to personal change, you're going to be baptized and involved in the water and the Spirit? Because he wants us to see that water is about cleansing, right? So that's the mixture. Christianity, in its truest form with Jesus, is totally about making changes through cleansing inside of yourself. Cleansing inside of yourself. And so the water is essential for us to see that cleansing is going on. Number 2, under A, water combined with the Spirit cleanses deep within us in the same way. Notice John 7, verse 38, a little bit down to the right. If anyone believes in me, what does it say? Will flow in them? Rivers of living water. See, we got change going on, don't we, inside of us? Cleansing. And so with that cleansing, and you see, that's how people in jail have a chance. I go in there, others go in there, and we say it's all about making changes for the better. And if you make these changes, you'll be able to keep your portion of, anybody want to take a guess what that word is? Freedom. You'll keep your portion of freedom. You won't lose your portion of freedom. And in the new covenant, that's why Jesus said, love God and love yourself. And if you love yourself, you're loving your portions. And you're working on increasing those portions so that you can be better to yourself and then your neighbors. And in this case, mom, if mom is still alive. And or any mom that you might want to be helpful to or toward, you can put in that category as well. Okay, rivers of living water inside you, inside me, making changes. B, notice Jesus' words about water and the Spirit. Notice John 3:5. He says, I say to you, if a man's birth is not from water and from the Spirit. So he's tying that the Spirit, you could say, is the soap, but I think it's deeper than that. I think it's deeper than that. But the water with the Spirit and all those changes are going on. It is not possible for him to go into the kingdom of God if that water and changing type thing isn't happening. That is the whole key then to living in God's kingdom. And it's the most exciting thing of all, because when you and I are making changes, we feel different. And when you feel different, you feel new. If you don't feel different, you don't feel new. And, pretty soon, Terry is going to be driving around in kind of a newer truck, isn't he? Yeah, you're going to have new paint on there, right? And I'm looking forward to seeing that, Terry. I am. I think I'm gonna throw my golf clubs in there a couple times this year. Okay, continuing on, water and the Spirit. The obvious connection, purification. We've said cleansing. We've said washing. Okay, and my grandkids, the younger ones, boy, I tell you what, they know how to get in the mud. They will go right in there and get in there, and they'll go, Grandpa, come on, get in the mud with us. No, I don't care to do it, and then I start laughing with my daughter and talking about the bathtub and getting them washed up. And this world is full of dirt that gets on us, isn't it? We got to constantly keep washing ourselves to get rid of the dirt that is trying to stay with us. And so Jesus knew that. Okay, and as we continue through here, we got 1 Peter 1:22, a human father giving, changing, purifying himself for child nurturing. Notice 1 Peter 1:22 on the reverse side, you have made yourselves pure by obeying the truth. Jesus said, I am the truth. Jesus said, I am the life. Notice he's not saying obey the 10 commandments. I'm not saying don't obey the 10 commandments, but I'm saying you need to look at Jesus as the truth, as the light. And that when people need to make changes, or you and I need to make changes, and Lord, I know I got to make changes. I look to Jesus as the truth, and then I talk to him. You know, which change should I make first, Lord? This change or this change? And I do. I'll say, I'm not going to choose myself. Lead me, guide me. And that's what it's about. If somebody is doing something that is harmful to themselves, and maybe you feel like it's something dirty, you say, let's talk about this under the light of Jesus and the truth of Jesus. And see, that's what Peter is getting at there. It's about Jesus is the truth. And it was interesting last night. We were watching a documentary. I can't remember the name of it, but it was about humankind. And boy, they really threw Christianity into that, in with the Roman Empire, and how many changes were made through Christianity in the Roman Empire. And they said they believe there are 2.2 billion Christians. And one of the things they said was, and so people then will learn about Jesus and his Father. Because the truth, Jesus said, I am the truth, the way, and the light. No one comes to the Father except through me. So see, that's that new covenant way. It's about light, and it's about the truth. And when we work through things and get to things through that way, and then look at what Peter says. Once you realize it's about obeying the truth of Jesus, then you can have true love for your brothers and your sisters. And then look at how he ends it. So love each other deeply with all your heart. And I dare say, I think that is one of the top 10 greatest strengths of our church, is we can love each other with a large heart and keep it going and keep it up. And people, when they sense that and feel that, it means an awful lot. And you can do an awful lot for God when you know you are loved by others in your church. Okay, we're going to touch a little bit. Number 3, the points that I didn't touch on the outline this week, I will touch next week. Mom receives ongoing father gift of divine, loving, personal change. Well, what's one thing we normally need to give our mothers on Mother's Day? Okay, how about flowers and chocolate?
Flowers and chocolate, I see.
Oh, that's funny. Dan says his mom likes money. Okay, mom gladly receives the Father's gift of Jesus cleansing, changing, and bringing love. Matthew 26 and verse 39 reads, Jesus walked on a little way, then he knelt with his face to the ground and prayed, my Father, if it's possible, don't make me suffer by having me drink from this cup. And I put, change the diaper. Yeah. You know, I haven't had to change many diapers with my grandkids, but I'm always willing.
Yeah.
I'm always willing. And I call that hand washing stuff. Because boy, you got to wash your hands immediately, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah. I remember someone in our church saying that they had a brand new baby niece in the crib, less than 2 weeks old. And they go into that crib and the mom is standing right next to them and they say, I have never taken care of a baby like this before. And the mom said, this is my first baby. I've never had to take care of a baby like this before. So, you know, it's a new life, and it's all about making changes. And I tell you, my mom, she used to talk about it kind of this way. What does it mean for a mother to drink from this cup? It means that child is not going anywhere but being connected to mom, right? Always going to be there. Same with a loving family member. We're always going to be connected. I talk to my brother 4 or 5 times a week because we are definitely connected. And this kind of connection here is something that, yeah, there is some suffering in it, but I think for the most part, when we have God with us and he's allowed to make changes and we have thankfulness and joy, there's mostly joy, right? There's mostly joy. And I love talking with a lot of people in our church about our grandkids because, you know, somebody will say, you know, they missed the bus today. And we'll laugh. You know, because it's just something that happens, right? And you learn how to carry on, but that suffering turns to joy because that's what happened when Jesus died on the cross. It was turned to joy. Okay, I'm just going to touch one more point, and then we're going to carry on next week from there. Let's look at 2 Timothy 3 and verse 14. And you'll see on the back, it continues. Continue in what you have learned and become convinced of, because you know those from whom you learned it, and how from infancy you have known the scriptures which are able to make you wise. And so this is one of the great reasons that we have for bringing other family members or encouraging other family members to come to church it's because of that. Learning more about the ways of God. Let's look on the back of your sermon sheet. And who is pictured there? George and who? His mother. Let's all read that together, starting with my mother. Ready, set. My mother was the most beautiful woman I ever saw. All I am, I owe to my mother. I attribute all my success in life to the moral, intellectual, and physical education I received from her. And so I hope that all of us can think of our moms today and have a wonderful Mother's Day. I hope that we can all rejoice in the way in which we practice being mothers to others through nurturing other people, right? Through looking out for their best interest. And all of that, I think, is a part of having the love of God. Our Heavenly Father, as we close this service, we come to the last verses of Amazing Grace again. And Lord, we thank you that we can love one another, that we can practice love with our mothers and our families. And Lord, I just pray, and we all pray together, that you will give us good days today. In Jesus' name. And Lord, we thank you that someone can pray and receive Jesus right now. If they're watching on television or watching live on YouTube or Facebook, they can say, Jesus, please come into my heart right now and teach me your way and show me the Father. Jesus, I ask you into my heart right now. In Jesus' name I pray. And when you do that, God will come right into your heart. Okay, let's all stand and turn to 502, and we'll be singing verses 4 and 5.
Do it the same way or do it the regular way?
We're going to do it the same way. And I thought that was really cool that some were even able to articulate the tune we were doing it to. Okay, Dan, we'll go a one chord introduction. Ready, set, go. Okay, ready, set. Verse number 4. 1, 2, 3. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that God brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead on. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've known worse days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Let's sing Amazing Grace number 1 to begin again. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Okay, everybody, thank you for coming today. And next week, we'll have the regular praise team with us. God bless. Can't find that, I think
Where can I look that up from? YouTube?
Yes, do you look up YouTube right now?
Yeah, I can look at YouTube. I also noticed in the front of it, you had, but you had the bullet on the back of that new Mustang, and that one on the front of the Bolton. Steve, the previous car, it said bullet on the license plate.
I didn't notice that.
Okay.
Okay, now what I want you to do at YouTube is go www.UB. Nope, not 3 W's, just www.UB.
Okay, UB.
Okay, now hit enter. Okay, now. Okay, now you gotta get on YouTube.
Okay, then YouTube,
Okay, so you gotta go back. Go to YouTube here.
okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, I can see that. Okay. YouTube. Okay.
It's all right. That's what's so great about computers. Okay, now that you're in YouTube, now you should be able to do the search right here. And now go WWUB.
Well, yeah, I always
Okay,
lose.
didn't put it in there. Okay, so I guess you'll.
There it is.
Okay, good. Now hit search. Okay, now you should be able to find me. There I am. Okay, click on this. Okay. Now what you do is it's going to take you to YouTube and all the stuff will be there.
Okay.
So look underneath now and then like here it is, live 510. There we are. Hit that. And we're still, see, you and I are, hopefully you can see Dan moving right there. See him? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So watch this now. I'll come over here and I'll wave at you. Okay.
Okay.
There we are. You see me?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're live.
Okay.
So that's the key, is whenever you want to find our channel, just type in YouTube, WWUB,
Okay.
and then you scroll down till you see one of our videos, click on it, and then the other ones appear below it. Yeah,
That's easy.
yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So when do you stop live streaming? When you hit the button down?
Right now. Yep, we will cut it off right now.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, all right.
That was nice to remember Steve McQueen there on the front cover of that. Steve McQueen's car, that was Bullet. Remember that?
Wow, yeah.
You look at the front of the Bullet, the license plate of that car and that drive-in for the driving service. You must have used that off the internet.
Okay, yeah, yeah, and you know, that was a Mustang, wasn't it?
That was a Mustang.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's GTO, but I'm not sure exactly. It's Mustang, but it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
How did your video seem to go? Okay. Do you want me to give you my USB stick?
If you want it on.
Okay, yep. Okay, let's see if got it. Yeah, and he's got an amp, Dan, so, you know, me or Tom can take him home